Democrats play the quiet game with power, but when Trump just talks, they clutch their pearls. The real battle isn't over words, it's over who's willing to weaponize the system.
I'm just asking, just as a person, are you surprised that the tariffs haven't had a bigger impact on prices, for example?
I think it remains to be seen where this is headed. I'm deeply concerned that the tariffs are going to exacerbate the inflationary challenges that we already have in the United States of America, the affordability issues that we have in the United States of America, particularly as it relates to consumer goods and consumer goods that are going to be important to the American people as folks prepare to send their children back to school.
I guess, Mr. Speaker, I don't know about deflation and costs coming down. All I can tell you is that the inflation rate itself was 2.7% in the most recent read year over year versus it got to a high of 9% under Biden. Stocks are at record highs. Unemployment is
Sometimes losing your mind is obvious. You're frothing at the mouth, ranting and raving, but other times it's more subtle, like King Jeff speaking without any idea what he's talking about. Seriously, dude, what are you even saying? You're upset because the president said, "I don't like this guy. He should be fired." Well, if the president doesn't have the authority to fire that person, then all he's really doing is using the bully pulpit, something Democrats understand far better than Republicans. Democrats care more about rhetoric, while Republicans, when we get hyperbolic, want to be taken seriously, not literally. Democrats, on the other hand, want to be taken both literally and seriously when they act hyperbolic. It's a strange dichotomy, but whenever Trump uses strong rhetoric, Democrats immediately clutch their pearls. They scream about things that aren't even happening, making themselves look a bit unhinged, like they've lost their minds, their marbles, and maybe even their soul. They can't seem to grasp their own talking points, and politically, they've been so thoroughly outflanked that the only direction left for them to run is farther to the left, straight toward the socialists. That's why the CNBC host is bringing up Mandami, who is likely to become New York City's next mayor. Now, compare that to what Trump is doing, using rhetoric as a tool to push his agenda. Mandami is openly promising to raise taxes in certain neighborhoods and boroughs, introduce government-run grocery stores, and ultimately strip New York City of its spirit, transforming it from a place where if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere into one where if you can't make it here, you can leech off those who can. Meanwhile, experts warn that the elites rig markets, print money, and manipulate the system, but they can't print gold. As the dollar weakens, physical gold and silver remain
4.2%. That's full employment. The GDP was 3%. The border is actually secure. We've got trade deals with EU, Japan, many more in the works, and trillions of dollars of foreign investment coming here. Iran's nuclear ambitions have been set back indefinitely. And I just wrote down a few things. So I just have to ask you, where is the calamity that you're talking about? And it almost seems like for Democrats, socialism is the answer to these problems. Or, I don't know, an end of democracy or something? We just don't get it.
Well, actually, I'll tell you what we stand for, Joe. It's pretty clear. As Democrats, we believe in a strong floor and no ceiling. Today is the 90th anniversary of Social Security. It was born 90 years ago today. What we've seen from this administration is an attack on Social Security, an attack on Medicare, an attack on the Affordable Care Act. You pass one big, ugly bill that's now law on a partisan basis that represents the largest attack on health care in American history. Hospitals will close. Nursing homes will shut down. Community-based health clinics will be unable to operate. People all across the country are going to experience increased premiums, co-pays, and prescription drug prices. That's a problem for everyday Americans.
What do you think of the president's decision to replace the BLS director in terms of this new person who's just been put into this role?
I think it's a disgrace, but it's part of a consistent pattern that the Trump administration has attacked the free enterprise system here in the United States of America. The Trump administration has unleashed the largest pay-to-play scheme in modern American history, and everybody in corporate America knows it. Everyone in Washington, D.C. knows it. Is that not an attack on a free market-based,
tangible, real, and beyond government control? When banks go fully digital and emergencies lock people out of their own funds, gold and silver won't need internet access or official permission. Their value exists outside the system, serving as time-tested insurance against tyranny, inflation, and economic collapse. That's why owning physical gold and silver is what the elites themselves do behind closed doors. We've partnered with Gold Co., which supports this channel. To help you learn more, visit politgold.com for details and see if you even qualify for free silver. Returning to Mandami's promises, actions speak louder than words, a lesson Hakeem Jeffries should understand, given the extreme behavior of his party and its last president. Elon Musk's mention here is telling. Once a darling of the left for championing green energy, technological progress, and witty social media posts, he fell from grace the moment he realized that meant yielding to powerful labor unions. Elon Musk found himself forced to jump through endless hoops and navigate layers of red tape in California, bowing to the whims of clueless Democrat politicians. Then came the relentless push of woke culture, which even touched one of his own children, and that was his breaking point. He decided to go in the opposite direction. Once a strong ally to the Biden administration, Musk became a target after the White House turned on him. This is how political power gets weaponized, punishing dissenters, reshaping the free market into a rigid, corporatized system that's easier for Democrats to control. The irony is that Musk had been a major asset to Biden, turning electric vehicles into a centerpiece of the administration's green agenda and
economy here in the United States of America. Seems to me that it actually is. That's problematic.
Right, but here,
going after
but here's the thing: you're talking about free market.
Problematic.
This is why I wanted to go there, because there's sort of you're talking about a free market on one side and being an advocate for a free market on one side, but at the same time, we just had a whole conversation about an individual who's running for
supplying Ukraine, a key White House wartime ally, with critical internet access through Starlink. SpaceX has been critical to preventing a potential Russian victory in Ukraine, and it's essentially the only thing keeping the U.S. competitive in the space race, especially considering the recent failures from Boeing. Remember when we couldn't even get our own astronauts off the space station because Boeing botched it? Well, it happened again. The truth is, the Democrat Party thrives in a highly stratified, corporatized system where the ultra-wealthy subsidize the very poor, with no real middle class and no pathway for upward mobility. In this setup, the working poor are left constantly dependent on handouts, while the wealthy pat themselves on the back for helping. It's a system that doesn't make sense, one that drags
mayor in New York City who is genuinely titling themselves a socialist. And you're saying that you might ultimately support them. And so I'm trying to understand the distinction here.
No. I'm trying to understand why you would spend a significant amount of time asking me about the Democratic nominee who's not even the mayor, and it's not a legitimate point to raise about a president who is regularly attacking the free market economy, bullying corporations, bullying universities, bullying law firms. He just recently called upon the CEO of Goldman Sachs to fire their chief economist. That's not problematic. He's the leader of the free world, the president of the United States of America. He's in office right now, and he's attacking the market-based economy. Now, I said that I support.
I don't disagree with you at all. I don't love those attacks, but I will say, just in fairness, and I wonder whether you think that they're the same or they're not the same. There have been people that have criticized Elizabeth Warren for years for individually attacking and going after and naming specific CEOs in America, specific companies in America, over again and over again. President Biden famously didn't invite Elon Musk to the White House, probably caused him to actually support this president originally.
Down the economy, stagnates society, and fuels resentment. When people have no real shot at moving up, frustration with those in power is inevitable. And that shift is starting to happen right now. Even as Donald Trump works, virtually on his own, to clean up the streets of D.C., people are beginning to think maybe these Republicans have some good ideas. Maybe Trump is actually doing the right thing. Suddenly, the so-called war over rhetoric that Hakeem Jeffries keeps harping on looks insignificant compared to the Democrats' war of actual strength and power, weaponized against those they dislike. This is exactly what actions speak louder than words means. The Biden administration has thrown its weight around to punish Elon Musk as much as possible, dragging him into a slew of frivolous lawsuits. Sound familiar? It's the same political tactic we've seen used against other recent presidents. Just look at Donald Trump's presidency and the sheer number of lawsuits thrown at him. That's the difference. Democrats operate quietly when they target someone. They don't shout it from the rooftops. Meanwhile, Trump might say, "I think this guy should be fired," or "The people at the Bureau of Labor Statistics don't know what they're doing." If he then takes no action, those comments were simply rhetoric, meant to stir the pot, gauge public reaction, and see if the targeted officials decide to protect their positions by shifting course. That's the key distinction: rhetoric used as a political tool versus the outright abuse of power that so many in the Democrat Party seem eager to embrace.